to my channel. My name is Mehek. I hope you guys are all fine, and like always, I also hope that you guys are reading. Back with the book of the week that I finished. It's called The World According to Joan Didion by Evelyn McDonnell. That's how it looks. It's a paperback. The book was sent to me by HarperCollins India, but the review is purely my own. Now, coming to the book now, if for those of you who don't know about Joan Didion, so to be honest, I didn't know about who Joan Didion was, before I read this book. So she was someone who was a writer, a novelist, an essayist. She was a journalist, and she was a very popular name in American literature. She was known, a few of the things that she was really known for was her sharp prose and her unflinching honesty. She wrote a lot about culture and identification and people, and she was also someone who was obviously very bold, and people also said that she was a lady who was ahead of her time. Now this book is really it's not a biography, it's not a conventional biography, but like the author says, that this is just a notebook where we are trying to see who Joan Didion was, at different phases of life with different people. And there's a very interesting thing that I read about Joan Didion online, when she said that why did she write, and she said that I write because to kind of make sense of things that I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing, and what do I make of it, and what is exactly happening in my life. So to kind of make sense of people and events that are happening in my life, I do write. So that was her motivation for getting into writing. Now the book is basically distributed into small chapters, and very interesting thing that each chapter, it's not like an essay, but it's each chapter has a one-word title. For example, there is a chapter on girl, where we come to know about Joan Didion's adopted daughter. There is a chapter called Orchids, where we come to know about how Joan was obsessed, or she really liked pressed flowers in the books and plants. Actually, I got a wonderful idea from this chapter, because she really, when she gifted people books, she liked pressing flowers in the books, and I thought that was really a wonderful thing to do. And then there is a chapter called The Gold, which talks about her roots, her career in California, and her school days in Berkeley. So while this book is not a conventional biography, it includes certain facts about Joan, like where she grew. She grew in Sacramento, and then when she got married, or before that, her career in Vogue, and when she shifted to California, and finally the whole experience of motherhood when she adopted a baby girl. So these all instances of her life and her work is shared in these different chapters. So through this book, actually what we get is, we get a deep dive into her work, obviously her words, her relationship with people, her relationship with places had a huge influence on her. And if you pick up Joan's lot of writings and works, you will see how she was influenced by people and places. And you get insight into her work, her relationship with people. So what the author has also done is, she has included excerpts from interviews and some of the first experiences shared by Joan's family, co-workers and lovers. So the author has included in this book. Overall, I think for me, what I feel after reading this book is that I'm truly fascinated by Joan Didion. I think she comes across a very interesting personality, and when I finished reading the book, I was going through some of her work, and obviously the work is like her personality, it was much ahead of her time, and it's amazing. I think all of us should check out some of her writings. In fact, in 2005 she was awarded as the National Book Prize Award for her book, which is actually a very famous book, The Year of Magical Thinking. And so she was awarded for that, and I was just going through her work, which obviously sounds interesting. So I'm really fascinated by Joan. So I'm sure if you're a literature graduate, you would have come across her work, or you would have read across you would have read her work. But surprisingly, I wasn't aware of her work, but from this book I actually learned a lot. So yeah, this is pretty much the premises of the book. I think some of the chapters were very interesting. The author has shared some of the wisdom from Joan's writings, which I really liked, and I have kind of underlined. There is also a chapter which is really emotional, which is titled as Morgue. So she lost her husband in 2003, I think, and they were married for really long. And then she also lost her daughter. She was only 39 years old, the daughter, and she lost her in 2005. So within just 2 years of losing her husband, she also loses her daughter. So I think that chapter was really emotional. What I also like that the author has just not talked about the good things about Joan. She's also talked about Joan's flaws. Like something that Joan really struggled with was, motherhood. And, the author has clearly spoken about that in this book. So I think if you are someone who is a literature student, if you have read partially about her work, I think this is a great insight to some of her works that she's done, and just understanding the personality she was. Now, the reason this book was difficult for me was I fell in love with the personality that we were talking about, Joan Didion. I was truly fascinated, but I think I wasn't hooked to the writing of the author. I'm not able to decide what was wrong with it. I don't know. It was just a difficult read for me to finish. It took me almost, I think this review is, almost 2 weeks late. And yeah, so I think maybe I'm going to check out Joan's Didion book, The Year of Magical Thinking, and see what I think about it. But I think it was a difficult read. But if you're someone who wants to learn about this, interesting personality in briefly, I think this is a great book. So that's all on this book. I'm going to see you guys next week with another title. Till then, take care and keep reading. Bye-bye.